This video is in response to @be kind to all and be love. Thank you for your request. The word menopause means menstruation, meno, and cessation or stopping, pause. So basically the female menstruation cycle coming to an end as we shed our last drop of blood. Like puberty, menopause is a natural change and an intense spiritual journey. Menopause is puberty prime, the change from a familiar known self to a new and unknown self is the same. Amazing, difficult, rewarding, exasperating, and monumentous. I know women that dread the idea of menopause, and I must admit there have been moments in my own mind and in my own life where I've felt overwhelmed and like, oh, I wonder what on earth is going to happen to me, what are those changes going to look like? And I know other people who have been seriously challenged by it because the symptoms can be so uncomfortable, overwhelming and unpredictable. But spiritual masters view menopause as a passage to power. Instead of seeing hot flashes as an awkward, inconvenient discomfort, they are embraced as the spiritual surges of Kundalini that they truly are. Of course, mainstream medicine promotes ERT, HRT and other hormone therapies, but Ayurvedic practitioners and traditional Chinese medicine says that these methods disrupt the natural process that's already underway and needs to occur naturally in line with God's design for our life. To be in the flow of spirit, we need to surrender and let it happen. I mean, it's pretty incredible, isn't it? First we undergo puberty, which gives women the ability to conceive, carry and birth new life, and then some 25 to 40 years later, the window naturally closes. And this is all written in our seed DNA and works itself out perfectly throughout our lifetimes. So what are the natural spiritual effects of menopause and how can we surrender and assist the divine unfolding of this amazing rite of passage? Let's take a look. First of all, Kundalini is present with all spiritual experiences. Carl Jung called Kundalini anima, meaning animating force or life force. When we're balanced and healthy in body, mind, soul and spirit, Kundalini issues up from the base of the spine and empowers all the inner workings of the body. And the force of Kundalini can be invigorated by yoga, breath work and other methods discussed on this channel. And when a surge of Kundalini happens, a sensation of heat, tingling and soothing vibrations can be felt traveling up the spine. Some initiates devote hours, weeks or months to the practice of Kundalini activation. But during menopause, women have natural surges and spontaneous fluxes of Kundalini experienced as hot flashes. I mean, I think this is pretty incredible. The body's own inbuilt knowledge and programming causing spontaneous waves of Kundalini to wash through the system in order to invoke other changes and processes in the body. When a bolt of hot energy rises through the spine and throughout the nerves, the blood vessels dilate and the endocrine or hormone system is readjusted or recalibrated, meaning that there are alterations in hormone levels and secretions happening. In fact, hot flashes fueled by Kundalini are said to be the catalyst for all the changes that occur with menopause, including shifts in the endocrine, cardiovascular, and nervous systems. Susun Weed, writer of Menopause the Wise Woman Way, says, wise women use nourishing herbal infusions, especially nervous system strengthening oat straw, fermented foods such as yogurt and seaweed as a food, not a supplement, to help ensure that these changes add to their vitality and longevity, creating post-menopausal zest. Other than oat straw, Herba epimedi, also known as horny goat weed, is a herb that's been used to reinforce the vitality and health of the organs, glands, and secretions of the sacral chakra for centuries, and that is the chakra that guards and guides and governs all of those menstruation symptoms and processes. According to Jana Dixon in The Biology of Kundalini, horny goat weed works by restoring the sexual fire, allaying fatigue, and alleviating menopausal discomfort. And the last natural remedy for menopausal relief to mention is Chinese ashitaba, which boasts a tremendous list of other healing benefits as well, such as helping to purify the blood and remove toxic wastes, detoxify the liver, enhance kidney function, support digestive and GI health, enhance peristalsis, cleanse the colon, harmonize the spleen and stomach, and the list goes on. But most relevant to this topic that we're discussing, Jana Dixon says that ashtaba outperforms all the other herbs tested for their antioxidant potential, and therefore assisting with the process of the menopause. Now let's look at a slightly older source of knowledge. So in her book, Generation and Regeneration, the legendary metaphysics and truth unity teacher Annie Rix Millets tells us that menopause is the most wonderful time of life for women. Let's take a look. Nothing abnormal need be expected. It is but nature conforming to the divine idea that generation is finished at a certain period, and woman must lift up her mind and her heart to spiritual regeneration instead. She goes on to say that during menopause and post-menopause, spiritually minded women may experience an awakening in the life center, the sacral plexus, causing increased desires for pleasure, and simultaneously the increased potential for Kundalini rising and the upgrade of melatonin into the biochemicals of enlightenment. Millet says not to be overwhelmed by sudden pangs of desire or to condemn ourselves to degeneration, but to lift our hearts and thoughts in prayer, thus activating new life and new youth through the preservation of this wondrous influx of spirit, Kundalini, or creative power that comes around the time of the menopause. Here are a couple more quotes from Annie Rix Millets that help shed a light on the transformative potential of menopause. The reality of all is the incorruptible substance of God. There are no corrupt thoughts in the true mind. There is nothing but cleanness in the seed. Woman, as the great conserver of the race, should understand her creative secretion to be the pure, healthful, immortal substance. It is to be mentally lifted up and consecrated to God to be used for spiritual manifestation. It is an ancient teaching that the seed of the man that is conserved by spiritual force of self-control becomes transmuted into a finer, more delicate flesh, which is the outpicturing of an interior body, which finally takes the place of this body and expresses immortality here upon earth. The same description applies to women. It is the woman in each of us, whatever gender you appear to be, that is the conserving power. Continence is the power to contain within oneself or conserve the fecundating fluid. This power is exercised by the conservative element in us, the woman in us. She always draws inward towards the center, and through the feminine power that is within a man, he is able to retain his seed at will and conceive and nourish the Christ child within himself. This is the Immaculate Conception. Every time it is realized, a person's days are prolonged, their health renewed, and their whole being becomes the wedding feast, where the Christ oil turns the water of old life into the wine or spirit of new life. So protecting life force or ojas by controlling sexual energy is very important on the spiritual path. It doesn't necessarily mean celibacy. It can mean moderation and appropriate use. Bhakti, the embodiment of loving awareness, also plays a role in maintaining and charging or building life force. As discussed in the God Design, Secrets of the Mind, Body and Soul, practices such as Kaya Kalpa, Immortal Body Yoga, facilitate the health and vibrancy of the procreative organs and their essences, which in turn helps the process of menopause to progress naturally and with more ease. Another practice that will help with the surrender to nature's process of menopause is chanting a mantra such as, I am the grace of God. And I've put a link to a wonderful version of this mantra that you can sing along to in the description box below this video. It's simply stunning. It's always been one of my favorite meditation tracks. Rishis say that when a woman practices this meditation for 1 year, her aura will become tipped with gold, and great strength and God's healing powers will flow through her. The technique of affirmation has been around for thousands of years. It's nothing new. Words have actual formative power, and that power increases through repetition and is further increased when repeating divine truths such as this, such as, I am the grace of God. If you aren't using affirmations yet, please try and find a way to incorporate them into your practice, because the impact is enormous. This is one of the most powerful affirmations that you can do. The fact is that women are the grace of God. Woman is Shakti, but she doesn't always know it. This meditation evokes and manifests the inner grace, strength and radiance of each woman. It helps us to tune in directly with our own primal power. It empowers us to channel our emotions with kindness but authority, strength but positivity, and it infuses confidence and healing into our perceived weaknesses, as well as improving our physical self. We often struggle with self-esteem and security and self-confidence and knowing that we are enough, and this mantra just peels all of that away, and we can come into knowing how connected to our divinity we truly are. So in conclusion, within the wisdom of menopause lies the opportunity for spiritual rejuvenation and renewal, and the awakening of the life center within us, causing ripples of Kundalini through the body and symptoms of awakening. The teachings shared in this video guide us to perceive menopause not as an end, but as a beautiful, natural transition towards spiritual manifestation, a gateway to regeneration. By lifting our hearts and thoughts in prayer, we activate the creative power of Kundalini, paving the way for a renewed sense of life and youth in this next chapter. Let the menopause be a time of embracing the divine and experiencing the incorruptible substance of God within, a purifying and opening and releasing time, rather than a time of fear and attempting to slow or barricade nature's plan for your life. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the links to my books, courses, and other resources are in the description box below this video. May divine love manifest itself in you all, always and in all ways. Namaste.